Today we have a very special guest joining us today. He's the former Ancient Aliens TV host for Tucson, Arizona, as well as the leading UFO investigator in Phoenix, Arizona. He runs a Facebook Live show called Petroglyphs in the Sky. I would call him the king of the petroglyphs and one of the best UFO hunters in the United States.
Jeff Woolwine, the first person to do this.
For the spiral topic, you said, like some people say that it was, for water, and then other people might think that it's like emergent.
That's correct, yeah.
Or a vortex?
Yeah, like a vortex, yeah.
Clearly, the holocron we're seeing things in the sky as we're seeing now, strange objects, strange lights, if you will. They didn't have video cameras back then. They had stone boulders to record something significant, something to remember in history. They wanted to copy this down so people would understand what had happened here.
Pat and Jeff hiked to the spot where strange petroglyphs have been found. Among the petroglyphs is an image Jeff believes to be significant.
You'll notice this interesting line here. It has a block here, a block here, a block here, and a line. In today's world, what we like to call them is barbells.
Barbell-shaped UFOs, like this one videotaped over Phoenix on January 24, 2005, are well known to modern researchers. It's possible that local tribespeople were inspired to record their own sightings on these very rocks nearly a millennium ago.
Compare Jeff Woolwine's video and the rock drawings, the petroglyphs on South Mountain. There's the crooked snake. Here's his video. He took this picture of an image he says is on the rock. There are a few others.
Let's give a nice insertion welcome to our special guest, Jeff Woolwine.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Petroglyphs in the Sky Ultimate UFO Show. I'm your host, Jeff Woolwine. And thanks for joining us again tonight. And, we got a lot of good stuff planned for you tonight. We're going to go over some petroglyphs as we always do. We're going to explain the meanings and what they mean and everything like that. And we're going to show some UFO videos. There was one that Patrick Burke emailed me. He had a sighting last year, and it reminded me of a sighting that I filmed over South Mountain, and I believe it was 2005, 2006. Can't really remember off the top of my head, but it seems similar. So we're going to talk about that. And way to go, Pat, for filming that and bringing it to my attention. And we're going to have a special phone guest. Now, I normally don't do this. My studio here isn't equipped for interviews, for phones and things like that. But we're going to try something new. It's from my my drummer in my band. Those of you who know me personally know that I'm in a band. And this is from my drummer. Now, he had a UFO sightings, a couple of them, and he's going to talk about them on the air with us tonight via live on the phone. So we'll have to see how that goes. And so, yeah, you know, I have a couple announcements. Len Kitai of the 1997 Phoenix Lights movie has invited me and my wife to join her to be a special guest at the Phoenix Lights screening this year. So I'd like to give a shout out to her and say thank you very much. And so anybody, you know, in Phoenix, why don't you come on down, say hi to me, talk about your UFO sightings, you know, and, you know, let's get to know each other and have a good time and watch some history on the 1997 Phoenix Lights. There I'll be, you get a chance to take a look at what my book looks like. You can pick up a free flyer that I'll be handing out there, and you can learn a little bit of the history of Phoenix, Arizona that the archaeologist doesn't talk about. And yeah, you know, you can check out my book, find out where to get it, things like that. I might have a few on hand. I'm not sure yet. You know, I might be able to, you know, maybe sell a couple while I'm there, but I don't know. We'll see. But I will have a couple displays there for the public to check out. And also, Jay and Marie Yates have this ghost hunting field that they do. They're ghost hunters. And they go around different parts of the United States and they hunt and they film ghosts. And last year, I was a part of their Paracon out there in Vulture City. And it was great, you know. We talked about the ghosts. We talked about the hauntings that were there in Vulture City. And they did some ghost tours. And Jay and Marie Yates, man, they're awesome ghost hunters. I highly suggest that you go out there and check them out. Look them up on Facebook. And yeah, so and it looks like this Paracon is going to be in October that they invited me to. And we're going to do some sky watching out there, man. We're going to look for some UFOs. We're going to learn how to see the UFOs. And it's going to be great. I'll be conducting it. And come out, you know, meet me. Let's meet everybody. Let's just have a party, dude. You know, let's go out there to the Vulture City mines. Let's check out some ghosts, man. Let's check out some UFOs. It should be a great time. You know, there's going to be food. There's going to be drinks out there, man. So yeah, man, come on down. It's going to be in October, so that's well in advance from now. But yeah, man. So they invited me to come down and do some sky watching out there in Vulture City, and so yeah, dude, that's going to be great. Come on down. So yeah, you know, I've got a few more minutes before my special guest calls in. Not too sure what to talk about. Maybe we can talk about some of these petroglyphs real quick. And so yeah, let's go over some while we have some time. Okay, so this petroglyph here is on South Mountain, and you can read about this in my book. And here it shows what it looks like, what it looks to be, what it actually, you know, is interpreting is these things that we see in the sky today, as far as orbs, that thing right above them, right above this man. You see how the stick figure man is there? And so yeah, so this is this orb, right? These things that we see in the sky today, these Phoenix lights, these black orbs, these white orbs, okay? And look what it's doing. You see that? It's kind of having this line that's coming down, and it's kind of turning into like this barbell, like on the bottom there, but it's picking a man up, okay? It's carrying a man into the sky. You see that? You see that? So this petroglyph is telling us that this entity, UFO, is picking people up into the sky. Could that have what happened to the holocom? Meaning the people who are gone? The people who are missing? Because we don't know what happened to the holocom. It could be. It could explain what exactly happened to them. And I go more into that. in my book. So I'll have a little commercial about my book later on in the show. But yeah, you know, I spent up 10 years, about 15 years, you know, and I continue to explore the petroglyphs out there on South Mountain in Phoenix, Arizona. And you know, I found out what the true history of Phoenix is, and not what the archaeologist wants us to believe, but what the first park ranger of South Mountain from the 1930s onto the 1940s talked about what these petroglyphs are, talked about the spirits of the earth and sky, not crafts, mind you, not spaceships, not little gray guys running around, you know, not this kind of alien, but instead of outer space, these things are more inner space, okay? And he also talks about the Mayan tombs, okay? The tombs that are up there on South Mountain that I have confirmed, that I have verified, that I have photographed and documented the petroglyphs, the tombs, excuse me, on South Mountain that could explain, you know, everything, you know. And this is what Charles Holberg told people back in the 1930s. He was protecting the tombs. He knew about these Phoenix lights in the sky. He knew that these lights, that these things in the sky are actually, the story goes on to say, is protecting these tombs that are on the mountains around the Valley of the Sun. It's not just South Mountain, but it's most of the mountains around the Valley of the Sun that contains an umpteen amounts of gold. The story goes on to say that the gold is as tall as the highest saguaro cactus and is round, as big and round like the sun. And this gold was placed inside these tombs around Phoenix, Arizona, and left there for the Mayans to come back and to reclaim this. Now, this is what Charles Holbrook, the first park ranger, talks about. Okay, this stuff is not talked about with the first part, with the park ranger now, nor does the archaeologist talk about this stuff. This stuff is not meant for you to know. This stuff has been concealed, has been covered up, and has been tucked away for the last 80 years in the City of Phoenix Government Library Department. I verified this. I found the folder. Okay, I went up there investigating South Mountain. Not only have I hiked the mountain, not only do I understand the petroglyphs now, not only do I understand what these spirals represent, not only do I understand the landscape of South Mountain, but I also dug up the lost history of Phoenix, Arizona, and I verified it, not only exploring the mountain and verifying the tombs and verifying the petroglyphs, but verifying this information that hasn't been told to you and I in over 80 years and is meant to be hush-hush. It's meant to be quiet. They don't want you to know about this. I am not saying anything that hasn't been said before. Okay? Everything that I talk about has been talked about before. I'm just bringing this back into the public because the public is not aware of this information that I not only uncovered while investigating the Phoenix lights, investigating what these things that we see in the sky today, investigating what the petroglyphs are talking about, investigating South Mountain, and I came across the first park ranger that talks about these things that we see in the skies today and what happened to the Hohokam, because we don't know what happened to the Hohokam, because the Pimas say that the Hohokams are ancestors to the Pimas. The Pimas consider themselves ancestors to the Hohokam. Now, some of these the Odom tribes, they consider themselves also part of the Hohokam tribe. But the Pima word for Hohokam means the people who are gone, the people who are missing, because we don't know what happened to these people. Okay, they ruled here in Phoenix for 1,000 years. Okay, they were masters of canal systems. All right, they were masters of the land here in Phoenix, Arizona for 1,000 years. And then all of a sudden, boop, they vanished. They were here one day, gone the next, with no trace of where they went. Okay? But the petroglyphs do talk about where they went, and you can find that in my book. Okay, you can find all that information and what I've uncovered in the city of Phoenix, not only in my book, but my website also. And if you search my name on the internet, you'll see all the radio shows, TV shows, and cable shows, news reports that I've done over the last 20 years, and you'll understand where I'm coming from, and understand exactly what's going on. So it's almost time for Eric to be calling in my very first phone interview. I don't think I'll be doing this a lot, okay, because it's not that easy. But yeah, so we're waiting for Eric to call. He should be calling here pretty soon, and so yeah, we're waiting. And so while we wait a little bit longer, because it also talks about the lost history of Phoenix, Arizona, that Charles Holberg talks about. Okay, now when Charles died, when he died in the late 40s, I believe it was, all his information was buried away, was tucked away, not talked about anymore. Sure, they named a trail after him called Holberg Trail. Sure, they named his lookout point because he was on this top of this mountain hill on top of South Mountain, and he was looking for the gold seekers. He was looking for the people that were looking for the tombs, to uncover the gold. So he was chasing, and a lot of documents, a lot of stories that he wrote that is documented in the Phoenix Library, that's documented in other parts of the United States' library also, talks about, here we go, here comes Eric. Here comes Eric. So, yeah, let's get this all set up for Eric. Give me just a second. Okay, welcome, Eric. Welcome to the Petroglyphs in the Sky Ultimate UFO Show. How you doing tonight, bud?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful, wonderful. I was telling the audience that you're my drummer in the band, and that you actually had some UFO sightings, and you were kind of like you were kind of sick for the last couple of weeks, and we didn't really have any practice for these last 2 weeks. And boy, this last practice, brother man, you kicked ass, dude. You were rocking all those drums, man. You were kicking ass, brother. And I just want to say I'm so glad that you're back. And so yeah, dude, you really kicked ass.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome, man. So yeah, I put together a music video, and I'll be showing that a little bit later, probably after this interview, after we talk about the petroglyphs and stuff. But why don't you go ahead and explain on the UFO sightings that you had?
Okay, well, yeah, I was telling you before that there were two things that really stand out for me. One of them was probably about September of 2014, standing outside of my house. This was in eastern Tucson. And I look over and there's this thing. I don't know really how else to describe it, but just to say it was a thing in the sky. And what it looked like to me, it looked like it was maybe 4 or 5 pentagons kind of circling within each other, inside of each other, but outside of each other at the same time, in all different directions. They were circulating in all different directions, all at the same time, which seems impossible because they were all the same size, but they were all spinning in different directions at the same time. And the color on these things was amazing. It was like an obsidian black, like the kind of black that sucks all colors in. So I stood there and I watched this thing probably, I don't know, about 15 or 20 minutes, and it was just one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. Never seen anything like it before. Never seen anything like it since. And it's really kind of mind-boggling the way this thing was moving. Like I said, it was kind of like moving inside of itself, but around itself at the same time. I really don't know how else to describe that. Another time, I was taking a break from. I was doing janitor work, and I was taking a break. And this was probably about 2013, maybe a year or so before that. Standing outside of the building. And it was still daylight out, and I looked to the northwest, more north than west, and I saw these. It was kind of like an explosion of color. Like, the best way I can describe this was, if anybody's ever done watercolor painting, if you take water and you spread it on your paper and then you kind of dab the colors in, it was like that. The color kind of exploded into the sky. And it was, I couldn't tell if this was like a mile away or like 100 miles away because of the way that the colors just reacted. And I mean, it took up like the whole sky. And I wasn't the only person to see this. A lot of other people saw this. It never made the news or anything, which I don't understand. But it was like these colors kind of faded into each other, but they would change. Like, it would be like real bright green and real bright pink, real bright orange, all at the same time, but all at different times. Like, from the base of it, started with green, and then the green changed into like a pink, and then as it expanded, the colors got greater, like greater in, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you could see it, like it was darker. Like the hue, I guess, was greater, as it expanded more into the sky, and it took up, like I said, the whole sky. So it was something that was seen by a lot of people. My wife was at a different part of Tucson when this happened, but she did actually see it when it happened the same time that I saw it. She said a lot of people actually pulled over to watch this thing unfold. And I don't know what could have caused that. Like, there was no sound. It was like kind of time just kind of stood still for this couple of minutes, where colors just took over the whole sky. I don't know really how else to explain that.
Yeah, that's incredible, man. And watching these things, what really what kind of what did you really think as what you were seeing? I mean, it does seem like everybody saw that last sighting, so maybe it was like another Phoenix Lights, but it wasn't orange and amber lights this time. This was something a little bit different.
Yeah, it was every color that I could imagine. I mean, like literally every color of the rainbow plus more. I mean, it went through the whole spectrum. Like, what I'm thinking right now is the light spectrum. You know, it went through the whole spectrum, but not in order. Like, there was no apparent order to it that I could recognize. I mean, I'm pretty good at you know, seeing order in things and, you know, patterns and things, and there was no pattern to this, no order to it at all. It seemed just all completely random. And I mean, I really didn't know what to think. At first, I thought maybe it was an explosion, but explosions don't last for 3 or 4 minutes. You know?
Right.
But
right.
It just kept going and going, and maybe it was longer than that. I don't know. Like but it was at least 3 or 4 minutes. It could have been longer.
Wow, that's incredible, man. That's incredible. And have you ever seen anything else? You know, anything else kind of strange in the sky?
not that I can think of offhand, except for like orbs. You know, I've seen a bunch of orbs, like glowing blue orbs at night, but they haven't always been in the sky.
Yeah, that's interesting too, because I filmed some blue orbs on South Mountain, and they go inside the mountain, they kind of disappear, and then they come back out. So yeah, you know, I have seen those blue orbs before, and so that's a trip. And so you kind of live out there in the desert outside of Tucson, kinda. You're out there in the middle of nowhere. Have you seen anything else by your house?
Not recently, honestly. I haven't seen anything recently. Things have been kind of quiet for me lately.
Well, if you can, you know, next time that you see something, you know, try to film it if you can. Try to take a photograph. I always like to tell my skywatchers, you know, if you have a video camera, you know, available, you know, use the video cameras, because the cell phones, you know, it doesn't pick up that good quality, and you can't zoom in. But you know, a lot of people, you know, they don't carry a camera with them, so they use their cell phone. But if you capture anything else, you know, just like make sure you film it and let us know.
Okay, I definitely will. Yeah, I do have a little compact camera that I can keep with me, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's what I do. I bring a camera with me all the time, you know, so I have a camera with me constantly, because you never know when these things are going to pop up. And when they do, you know, you want to be ready for them.
Yeah, you're right. And like you were saying, the area I'm in, it's right by Cat Mountain, so I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff that happens that, you know, I just haven't seen.
Yeah, we're going to have to go out there and explore that mountain one of these days, bud.
Oh, yeah, I'm up for it.
Hell yeah. Hopefully, maybe we might find some petroglyphs. You know, we find some petroglyphs, then yeah, that's a good indication that these entities are hanging around that mountain.
Yeah, that's a definite possibility. I don't know if you've ever gotten a good look at the side of that mountain, but it seems like something that, you know, we possibly may be able to navigate up to the top.
Oh, wow, yeah, that'd be great. I haven't really checked out that mountain before, but yeah, dude, we definitely got to check it out.
Okay, I'm down.
Sounds great, man, sounds great. And so anything else that you would like to add? Anything you want to promote?
Oh, yeah, you know, I got to promote our band, Swinefly. We've been practicing pretty hard, like you said. I was sick the past couple weeks, but, you know, we should be out doing some gigs, I'd say, within the next couple months. That sounds about right, yeah?
Yeah, hopefully, that'd be great, yeah.
Yep. And then, you know, I have my own solo gig with the music, and anybody can check that out at my website. That's ericmanuelward.com, EricManuelWard.com. There's a whole bunch of stuff posted on there. If anybody wants to get on the mailing list, that would be awesome. Could see when all the new releases come out. I have a new album coming out February 29th, 2020. It was a leap year, so I thought that would be the coolest time to do it, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome, brother.
So yeah, that's about it for me.
Yeah, that's great, dude, and good luck with everything like that. And I'm so glad that you're back playing the drums, man, and everything like that. And so it'll be great, you know, getting back on stage and playing some gigs here around town.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Awesome, brother. Well, thank you so much for calling in and sharing your story. And so I made that video. Did you get a chance to take a look at it?
I have not yet. I've been real busy today. I did see the message come through, and I do want to look at it. I just haven't done it yet, but I will. I definitely will.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna show it on here on the show tonight. It's kind of cool. It's kind of weird. You know, and we did a real kick-ass job last practice, dude. Sounded great. You sounded great. The whole team just really kicked ass last night.
Cool, man. Cool. Thanks for saying that.
Awesome, brother. You're great, dude. I'll catch you next time.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. You know, Eric, he's a good friend, man. And everybody in the band, you know, is just awesome. You know, they're really cool, and it's fun. It's fun, you know, playing, you know, with them. And so yeah. Thanks again, Eric, for calling in. And if you guys, if anybody else has a UFO story or a UFO video or has any petroglyph photographs that you would like me to analyze and to go over and to interpret, send them to me. And whoops, we just lost. We lost our camera. Okay, just a second. Don't you just love live video? Don't you love live video? Anything and everything that can happen does. Okay, so we're gonna have to. Okay, that's live video for you, folks. Okay, so thanks again, Eric, for calling in. You're awesome, brother. And so let's get back to the petroglyphs real quick. And yeah, so because the camera got messed up, we're going to have to take a little bit of time. Okay, let's see. What happened to, let's see. Hey, Cup. There's Eric. All right, brother. We'll see you next time. Okay, let's see what this picture is. Live video, dude. Live. You know it's live when things start messing up. Okay, so here's a petroglyph on South Mountain that I discovered it's called Hieroglyphic Trail. Now, these petroglyphs aren't, you know, called hieroglyphics. I guess whoever named this trail, it's actually a canyon. It's not really a trail, it's a canyon. And I took Pat Uskert up there during the pilot for the UFO Hunter Show. I did the pilot for the UFO Hunter Show, and I took him up there. It was quite a climb, so I had to carry all his bags. He couldn't make it. He couldn't make it with all his equipment, so I had to be the one carrying all the bags up. And I didn't mind. You know, it was great. And so this petroglyph here, we talked about in the pilot for the UFO Hunter Show. And as you can see, it's talking about, it's depicting these barbells. Okay, so there's a lot of barbells that are carved on South Mountain. And this barbell, the one on the right that I'm pointing at, the one on the right, it actually has a man inside of it. Okay, so it's not a man inside of a ship. Okay, so these things are not crafts that we're dealing with. The Phoenix Lights was not a craft that happened back in '97 and continue to happen to this day. These orbs, these lights are not a spaceship. This is not technology that we're dealing with here. This is some kind of living entity, living life form. I was the first one here in the United States to prove this. Not only did I prove the petroglyphs are talking about these things that we see in the skies today, but I also proved on what they are. They are living entities. They're living beings. Okay? And I'm going to give you a secret. These things are not from outer space. They're from inner space. Okay? They are here among us also. They have always been here. This is their planet also. Okay? They are not from another planet. They are from Earth, and they have always been here. And the Native Americans are telling us that they have always been here, and to them, they are called spirits. Okay, so when we look at this petroglyph, the one that I'm pointing at, all right, it's got this man. Okay, so this orb or this barbell is actually going around this man and taken him up into the sky. As a matter of fact, you can actually see like a little window there. You see the man there, and you can see his arms and his legs there. It's kind of hard to see his legs. I got better photographs in my book. And you can see he's kind of looking out a window. Now, there's other orbs around this barbell. You see that? So yeah, this is on Hieroglyphic Trail, Hieroglyphic Canyon. It's not really a trail. It's a very steep crawling. You're crawling on your hands and knees, mostly on this trail, on this canyon hike. And it's not for the inexperienced. You can slip, you can fall. So if you decide to go up there and explore Hieroglyphic Canyon on South Mountain, I suggest that you be safe and be careful on what you go up there. And when you go up there, and don't touch the petroglyphs. You can examine them, take photographs of them, do selfies, things like that. But don't touch them. You don't want to disturb the petroglyphs. Because you don't want any oils. You don't want the oils on your hands to come up on the petroglyph itself. So you want to keep the petroglyphs nice and clean. Okay, so this petroglyph here. Okay, I'm not sure exactly where this is located at. All right, I pulled this off the internet. But here, let's examine the top. Okay, so now you see the top. One way to examine the petroglyphs, to understand what the artist is trying to tell us, is you're not just supposed to look, at the glyphs, but you're supposed to include all of the landscape in what the art is talking about. So here, as you can see, the petroglyphs are oriented upwards, okay? Because the artist wants you to look up. It's telling you that this was seen in the sky. Okay, so this is why the petroglyphs are high up in the sky, right there. In the open area, they're high up on the cliffs. It's because that's where the sighting took place at, is in the sky. So the artist is putting these petroglyphs high up on the rocks there, because that's where the sighting took place at. He's telling us that this was seen in the sky. Okay, so these are not just graffitis. This is prehistoric photographs, okay? Because the Indians, the Native Americans back then, the olden days, they didn't have video cameras back then. They didn't have cameras back then. They had stone boulders to record their sightings in the sky. This is the reason why we find some petroglyphs in one area of the mountain, but no petroglyphs on the other side of the mountain. Because nothing happened on this side. It happened on this side over here. Okay, so wherever we find the petroglyphs at, is where the ceremony or the sighting, the UFO sighting to us, took place at, is right there in that area where the petroglyphs are shown at. So here, this glyph here, look at this. So we're looking up in the sky. The artist wants us to look in the sky. And what does he see? We see there's a man there. Okay, and he's in the appeasement pose. His arms are up. He's looking up. There's another man off to the left of him. Okay, now look at these two circles. Okay, so a lot of reasons on why people just dismiss these entities is because of those lines that are hanging down from them. All right, so if these were balloons, then why are the Native Americans carving balloons on the rocks 1,000 years ago when balloons were not available at that time? Why are they carving balloons? You see, this is not balloons that we're seeing. This is the reason why so many people are seeing these things in the sky and dismiss them as balloons. Okay, so we all know what balloons look like. We all know how balloons act. Okay, they move around, they float in the sky. Okay, you can tell they're floating in the wind. They're bobbing back and forth. They're out of control. Okay, but these things when we see them are in control. They're changing. They're morphing. The archaeologist likes to call them anthropomorphs because they're morphing, they're changing, they're shapeshifters. Okay, they're changing colors. Okay, they're not acting like balloons. They're on a mission, man. They're going in a straight line. Something is controlling them, and it's not a spaceship. And that's the reason why a lot of people dismiss this, is because of wrong information, because they're looking for crafts. They're looking for little green men. Okay, I'm sorry, but you know, this is another life form. Sure, crafts might be out there, don't get me wrong. I have seen some things that could resemble a craft. But what I think the majority of the public is seeing are living entities. And yes, sometimes they have these lines that come down from the bottom of it. And that very first petroglyph that I showed at the beginning of the show shows a line coming down and picking a man up. So when you see those lines, that's what it's doing. Sometimes I've even seen them click together like a barbell. Okay? So don't be confused. Don't be confused on thinking and just blowing something off, thinking that these are, you know, oh, what you're seeing is balloons. You know, because I was the first one to bring this information to the UFO community in 2005. I did the History Channel, I did the UFO Hunter Show, I did True TV, Encounters with the Unexplained, okay, and I was showing my evidence, okay, that these things are alive. Sure, crafts might be out there, why not? I get it. Okay, I've seen some things that could resemble a craft, but I think what the majority of the public is seeing, especially these Phoenix lights, are living entities. You see 5 lights out there? You're seeing 5 living creatures, 5 living entities, okay? And they like to shape shift, okay? They change shape, all right? That's what the Natives has been telling us this whole time, man. Spirits are on the mountain, brother, and that's exactly where these things reside. And why mountains? Why certain mountains? It has everything to do with the fault lines. Natural energy around the earth attracts these entities to absorb the energies. Sometimes they're fault lines. Sometimes they're volcanoes. You know, we've seen in Mexico and other places around the world where these orbs are coming and going from volcanoes. Okay? Sometimes it's natural energy like nuclear facilities. All right? I've seen orbs hanging over nuclear facilities before. So yeah, they're attracted to this energy. They're absorbing the energy. This is the reason why they're flickering in the sky. This is the reason why they light up. It's because they're absorbing energy. And energy is a type of power source, okay? And they're illuminating from this energy that they're absorbing, okay? So look down here on the bottom. All right, see we have over here on the right. Okay, so we have these 2 lines, okay? And he's connected into a barbell. You see that? Now look over here on the right, just below that barbell there. All right, we have a cluster. So what are the Indians trying to say? Oh, they saw clustered balloons? Is that what they're saying? Cluster balloons? 1,000 years ago? 500 years ago? Balloons in the sky? No. They're talking about spirits, they're talking about entities, they're talking about living beings that shapeshift, that morph, that change into the likeness of man and beast. I've seen petroglyphs, I've seen these things, I've videotaped these things in the sky that shapeshift, man, and they look like flying serpents, they look like flying snakes. Quetzalcoatl in Mexico, the flying serpent. You know how many times I've filmed a flying serpent in Phoenix, Arizona, hanging around South Mountain? Man, they are petroglyphs depicting these things in the sky, these flying snakes. And are they talking about balloons? No, man. Look, there's a man right next to that thing. See that? Balloons are not sacred. Why make a record of this? It's not balloons, people. They're living beings. They're living entities. I discovered this. I proved this in back in 2005. All right? And they all thought I was nuts. They all thought I'm filming balloons. I'm filming flares. They didn't think I knew what I was talking about. But I did. And I verified it. And I continue to say, look, these are creatures. I went into this thinking spaceships, and I'm now did a 180 saying, look, dude, this is something completely different. I have seen them up close. I have seen them up firsthand. They have flown by me. They continue to fly by me. I see them in the sky all the time. Not lately, because I moved next to an Air Force base, and they don't like Air Force base. Go figure. Okay? And so I'm going to be moving again, and when I do, I'm sure that the sightings will come back. You know, but right now, as long as I'm living next to this Air Force base, they're not going to come around. So yeah, you know, I continue to see these things, and I know what they are, and now, you know, like 11 years after that, they're saying, people are writing me and messaging me, dude, I saw the exact same thing that you filmed in 2005. You know, so it's catching up. It's catching up. When I did the History Channel, the UFO Hunter Show, they said, now, Jeff, you are filming some bizarre stuff. Okay? They said the public is not ready for this type of discovery. All right? They said if you're going to talk about these things, you need to tell them, you need to say crafts. Don't go saying entities. Don't go saying fallen angels. You know, don't go saying spirits. All right? You need to say crafts. You need to mislead the public. And that is not what's going on here. These are living entities. Not crafts. Living entities. Look at this over here. See that? There's a guy over here. There's an orb right there. Right? Then we have another barbell to the right over here. You see that? Lots of sightings here on this rock. Look over here in the middle. See those lines there? Right? That's an entity. And he's growing these lines out from him. See that? There's an orb there. So yeah, man, they're not talking about balloons. They're certainly not talking about spaceships or crafts. Okay? I have been all over South Mountain. I've been all over the mountains of the Valley of the Sun in Phoenix. I have studied many petroglyphs. I understand the petroglyphs. And I have not once seen anything that could resemble a spaceship or a craft or a V-shaped craft or any nonsense like that. Okay? It's spirits, it's living beings in the sky. And that's how they're getting away with it. You know, people see these things, but they just don't understand what they're looking at. Okay, now I'm here to tell you, to explain to you what to look for. Now this petroglyph here is on South Mountain. So you see that circular belly there? You see that, see his belly? See that? What we're looking at is, let's start off with that circle. That circle is one of those Phoenix lights. Is one of those orbs that we see in the skies today. And he's changing. He's, what the archaeologists like to say, anthropomorphine. Anthropomorph. He's morphine. He's shape-shifting into a man. You see that? And some would say that he's a lizard man because he has that tail. You see the line? See the line on the bottom? Now, I really don't think that's a tail. I think that's one of those lines to pick things up with, right? Just like at the beginning of the show, I showed you a petroglyph, and it's a line. It's got like this barbell, that's going around this human, this man, and he's picking him up into the sky. Okay? A lot of people would say it's a lizard man, right? But I think it goes a little bit further than that, right? It's not a tail, but it's a line. Okay? Not a string from a balloon, right? But a line, some kind of tubular line. And sometimes they connect together and they make barbells, right? And I think when they do that, dude, I think they're absorbing each other's energy, right? I think they connect together and they absorb each other's energy as they fly in the sky. Because I've seen them. I've seen a line come out of one orb, another line come out of another orb, and they connect together. Okay? So what we're looking at here is a phoenix light or an orb, okay? And he's changing into a man. See that? Pretty cool, isn't it? This right here, I'm not sure of. I don't think it's, this is not South Mountain. This is somewhere else. I'm not sure exactly where this petroglyph can be found at. But you can see a barbell there. You see the barbell? Again, we have another barbell petroglyph. See that? And these are not balloons, okay? This is what they saw in the sky. This is their testimony. This is their sighting. This is their, to us, quote unquote, UFO sighting. They saw this in the sky. They call these things spirits. We call them today UFOs. And then the people who see them call them balloons because they don't know what they're actually looking at. You know, I've been doing this for 20 years now. Okay? I discovered this in 2005. All right. Now people are starting to see them all over the United States. You know, look at Mexico. Mexico's got these flying worms, these flying snakes, stuff like that. So does Phoenix, Arizona, and so does your neck of the woods. Okay? Not crafts or not lights that blink repetitiously. You know, that blink in a pattern. Whenever you see a light that blinks in a pattern like that, okay, that's man-made. All right? Everything that flies that's man-made, right, must have anti-collision lights on them. All right? And they blink in a pattern. So if you see a light and it's blinking in a pattern, you know that it's an airplane. Okay? You know that it's a headlight that you're looking straight on with an airplane, and he's got his headlight on, all right? And then they're blinking. The anti-collision lights are blinking. Okay? It's not some spaceship, all right? If the damn thing is blinking like that, dude, it's not a craft, man. It's not a spaceship, dude. It's not a UFO, man. It's a man-made object, okay? A lot of people don't understand this, okay? They haven't studied the skies as much as I have. They haven't studied airplanes. They haven't studied balloons. You know, they haven't studied what's in the sky. They just automatically think, you know, oh, there's something in the sky. I'm gonna film it. You know, oh, it's blinking. It's a light. It's a UFO. Okay, so this petroglyph here, and as things are live, you never know what will go wrong next. So this is interesting too here. Okay, so this is like a flying cross. Now I have seen this type of UFO entity in the sky before, and it was like a ball and then a cross and then a ball and then a cross. Okay, so I've seen this entity before, right? And we see many crosses on South Mountain like this that are depicting these type of spirits. And also in Mexico, you know, on excuse me, on some of the Mayan temples and things like that, you know. So yeah, and then to the bottom of this cross, we have, let's look at his belly first. Okay, so that is the orb, all right. That is to us, quote unquote, the UFO, all right. And he's changing, he's morphing, he's anthropomorphing, right? He's morphing into this creature. You see that? Now look over to his left. You see a circle orb and the line. See that line there? It's not an upside down balloon. Not an upside down balloon, but a line coming out of this orb. This is how you successfully understand the petroglyphs. Now, not all mountains or petroglyphs are talking about these entities in the sky. Okay, some mountains with petroglyphs carvings on them are talking about ceremonies. This is when we see the kachinas and stuff like that. You know, some Native American art is talking about, you know, the deers or birds or flowers. Okay, things like that. It's like a painting. What you and I do, you know, today. You know, we see a deer out there grazing on grass. We're going to draw it, dude. We think it's cool. We're going to draw it. That's exactly what some of the Native Americans are doing. They liked that deer. They liked what was going on. They carved that deer to remember, you know, for people to remember. Look, there was an awesome deer over there, right? So, but the mountains that you want to look for when you start sky watching, because you want to go to the source. And the source of these beings, the source of these entities are these sacred mountains, all right? With spirals carved on them. These spirals represent doorways for the spirits, for these entities. Okay, if the spiral is going clockwise, then the doorway is in. Doorway is going in. If the spiral is going counterclockwise, it's a doorway out. Okay, now if the spiral is ending like on the bottom, just like straight down, then the doorway is the ground there. All right, so these entities, these spirits come up out of the ground. All right, so if the spiral ends at a crack in the rock, in the stone, or a big crevice or a big opening in the stone, that is the doorway. That is the entrance point to the from what the spiral is talking about. The spiral is connected to that crack. It's telling us that crack is the entrance point to these spirits. Not a spaceship. It's not a spaceship that we're dealing with here. These are like supernatural entity beings, okay? Just as man is higher than the animals, right? We're intelligent, we can do things more than the animals can. These things are one step higher than man, all right? There's some people would call them supernatural, all right? Okay, so these things are, yeah, man. So, you know, I think that's what the majority of the people are seeing are, you know, not crafts in the sky, but living entities, okay? So here we have this petroglyph here. Let's look at this petroglyph. This is a very interesting petroglyph, all right? So this is like a worm that we see in the skies today. You know, look at Mexico, right? You see those worms that we see in the skies? And so this is one of those entities, okay? And it's growing these things out of its head, all right? And you see the man over there, okay? Now his arms are down, okay? So who knows if he's, you know, it's hard to tell if this guy is dead or not, right? Because his hands are down. Now normally, you know, we see his hands that are up. Okay, so let's examine this. Let's examine him a little bit further. Let's look at him a little bit more. Yeah, so, you know, he looks like he could be, you know, one of those entities just because of that thing, you know, coming out of his neck there. See that line? Okay, so he's a big guy. This could be talking about a giant. All right, so there's many petroglyphs of giants carved up there on South Mountain, depicting giants, and there's evidence of the giants on South Mountain also. So this petroglyph here could be talking about a giant. See how big his hands are and things like that? This could be one of those entity giants. Now we have this serpent-looking thing here. See that? And what is he doing? He is coming out of that crack there, on the ground there, or on the rock. Okay, over here on the bottom there we have another entity, all right, and he's connected to that worm there. Okay. So this whole panel this whole panel is talking about these spirits in the sky that we see that we see today. Not crafts, but living entities. This one is a good one also. Look at this one. You see those orbs there? And then look at that orb down there, right there. He's like growing legs. You see the orb? Okay, and look at the look at that barbell. You see the barbell? You see that line? See how those two orbs are connected together there? You see that? And then this thing that has this long legs there, and it's got this tail and these two arms. Look at that thing, right? And see the orb to the bottom left of him, down there by his legs. And then to the left we have an orb, and he's growing legs. You see that? And then over here on the top right, we see this coyote. The coyote is looking up at these things in the sky. Look at that one. Let's take a look at that there. Let's look at those there. You see that? That one entity, that line, is picking up that coyote right there, to the right of those two orbs in the sky. And then the two orbs are right over that one coyote there. So these entities are picking up this coyote. And then the coyote on the bottom, he's looking up, seeing what's going on. And the two orbs is right above him. You see that? And I've seen petroglyphs, that are picking up coyotes. They're picking up people. They're picking up animals, goats, stuff like that. Here we have a spiral, all right? So this is a doorway in. Now look at that jig-jaggedy line there. Now see that crack that's right above there? Okay, if the photographer would have photographed this more, I'm sure that line is going up into that crack there. Okay, because the spiral is ending up. You see that before it starts going into the ziggity-zag line, before it's going into those lines. You see that? So I'm sure that crack up on top is the doorway, is what the spiral is talking about. Here we have another orb. See this orb here? All right, look at this belly. See the round belly? And he's morphing into a man. You see that? See how that orb? It's that orb, that's that phoenix lights that we're seeing in the sky today. And he's anthropomorphing. He's changing into a man. Here we have some glyphs here. Look at this. We have this man over here to the right. He's looking up at two orbs in the sky. You see that? Isn't that interesting? Look at that thing up top. See? So it's not a complete, that is not a spiral. That circle there, right there, that is not a spiral, right? Because it's not connected together. Okay, so when you look at these lights, they're kind of pulsating, right, in the sky, and that's exactly what it's talking about here, is it's like kind of pulsing, all right? It's pulsing. That's what that petroglyph is talking about. And look at the deer here. You see him. He's looking at this type of stick, that's above him, right? It's not a stick. One of them spirits. Here's a giant. Okay, not sure where these petroglyphs are located at. These petroglyphs here I've been showing. These last few of them are not on South Mountain. These are somewhere else in the United States. I'm not exactly sure where. But this right here is completely shown as a giant. That is a giant. And giants were here in the United States. There's plenty of evidence to suggest that giants were here, and giants were in Phoenix, Arizona. You know, one of the stories, I'll go into the Superstition Mountains here before we go into this petroglyph. The story on that Superstition Mountain, not only, was the gold seeker, the lost Dutchman, that famous story, but that mountain goes a little bit deeper, right? It's talking about the giants, okay? So when the flood was coming, remember the flood back in Noah's day? When the flood was coming, the lead giant, now this is Phoenix, Arizona we're talking about here. The lead giant told his people to run up on this rock, to run east and run up on this rock, okay? Run up on this huge stone. When the lead giant did, when the giants did, the lead giant used his powers to raise this mountain up. But the waters kept coming. He raised that mountain up, but the waters kept coming. He raised that mountain so high, the water just kept coming. It was the size of a huge mountain now. But the water was still coming. So in his last bit of strength, he immortalized all his people by turning them to stone and turning himself into stone, because he did not want his people to drown. So he immortalized them by turning them into stone. And on top of the Superstition Mountains, you can see the water mark of after when they turned to stone, the water stopped. And to this day, you can still see the water mark up there on top of the Superstition Mountains, and on top, you can see all the giants that are still there today turned to stone. Okay? And on the left side, on the north side of the Superstition Mountain, you can see the lead giant. He's in a robe. Okay? He's at the bottom of the mountain in a robe. All right? Now, there's other giants that are around Phoenix, Arizona. There's one on Camelback Mountain. You can see a giant. He's up there and standing on the ledge. He was turned to stone also. And as far as the evidence of giants, in my book, I go into this, I talk about it, I show photographs of boulders that have been picked up, broken, mind you, picked up and thrown into these spots to cover up the doorways into these tombs. Now, these stones are a few thousand pounds, dude. How is the Holocoms back in their day going to pick up these stones and throw them, into these crevices here, unless it was a type of giant race? All of this is in my book. Here we have some petroglyphs. Look at this. Look at these barbells here. You see that? You see the line? See the lines in them? They're connected together. Just as I was talking about earlier, just as I have foreseen, just as I have seen in the sky. These lines connect these orbs together. Okay? It's not balloons. It's not balloons. Why would the Indians be carving balloons when balloons wasn't around that day? Okay? This is a written testimony. This is a written testimony of what they saw back in their day. Okay? This is a photograph. This is a prehistoric photograph. They didn't have photographs. They didn't have cameras. They had stone boulders to record their sightings at, and this is one of them. Look at this. This is interesting. Now, not being there, all right, it's hard to tell, but I would imagine that these lines are tracking the sun. Okay? So the one in the middle, that would be like the equinox, or the summer solstice, like right in the middle, right? And then all these other lines to the left and right would be the sunrise and sunset, and things like that. So yeah, but not being there, and not seeing the whole landscape and not knowing exactly, where this rock is oriented towards. You know, if it's oriented towards the east, you know, then you know, it would have something to do with the equinox and the solstice. You know, and the sun would be aligned with these lines here carved on the stone. But with actually not being there and understanding what the landscape is talking about, then it's really hard to tell. So that's just a guess. That's just a theory, you know. This petroglyph here, now, this is interesting, all right? So this is an orb, right? And he's kind of glowing. He's glowing. And that's what it's talking about. So this orb is in the stone. This stone is like an orb, okay? And he's glowing. It's not the sun. This is not a sun, all right? A sun petroglyph has lines coming out from it. It doesn't have like flowers, all right? It's telling us that this is a type of orb, and it's in the stone, or it's coming out of the stone. And it even kind of, I wouldn't say that it's a spiral, because I don't believe, it doesn't look like those lines are connected together at all. It just looks like a circle within a circle. I don't know. Let's look at it a little bit further here. Let's look at it. Let's look at it. Yeah, so that's not really a spiral. Okay? It's pulsating. As it's going into the stone, this orb is pulsating, and it's generating light. It's generating energy. You see that? That's exactly what this petroglyph is talking about. Isn't that neat? Isn't that neat how they carved around that opening there? It could be, very well be, you know, an orb, and it was turned to stone. And the natives knew about that, and they marked it right there. Without being there, and hopefully one of these days, I will find this site. I know where it's at, I just haven't been there yet. So I will get there, and when I do, then I'll take video, and we'll go into more details on this. I know where it's at, it's just, it's kind of hard to get there. So, whoops, we did it again. Don't you just love videos like this? Okay, so this petroglyph here, this is very interesting. All right, see on how it's like a bird. All right, you see that type of bird? So yeah, so he's looking at these entities over here, all right, and they're being carved. They're not carved. They're morphing. They're changing. Okay, so and we have another bird up on top there. All right, so these are talking about these anthropomorphs. And without actually being there and seeing it, you know, for yourself, seeing the rest of the petroglyph panel, whether there's spirals there or not, you know, it's really hard to determine, you know, what the story actually consists of. Aren't these neat? That is so cool. So that is how you can understand the petroglyphs and what the petroglyphs are talking about. So yeah, let's take a break, and then we'll get into Patrick Burke sighting, who that filmed the exact same thing. He filmed this entity sighting last year, and he brought this video to me. And at first he thought it was balloons, but then again he was like, "Wait a minute, you know, this is something." And then when I saw it, I automatically, you know, knew exactly what it was because I filmed the exact same thing. in 2005. So yeah, let's take a short break, and then we'll get into Patrick's sighting. See you then.
Petroglyphsinthesky Ultimate UFO Show. Follow Jeff Lowine as he explores Native American rock art that shows UFOs has visited Earth long ago. Check out the Petroglyphsinthesky Ultimate UFO Show. Tell your friends.
You know about the Phoenix Lights. We're going to be talking a little bit about them, the latest theory as we celebrate the anniversary, even though we've seen things that may prove it otherwise than a UFO. Stay with us.
March 13th, 1997. You guys all remember these lights here? It was 14 years ago tonight that phones and newsrooms and 911 call centers were ringing off the hook. The reason? Suspicious lights hovering over the Arizona sky. They came to be known as the Phoenix Lights, and over the years there have been many theories as to what the lights were. But to this day, the identity of the Phoenix Lights remain a mystery. The experience, some say, was just one of many major UFO sightings, and they say we've been visited for centuries. What proof? Well, one local UFO expert says you just have to look at the mountains.
Oh, well, I've been seeing UFOs for about 15, 16 years now.
It's become a lifelong passion for Phoenix resident Jeff Woolwine.
I do a lot of hiking, a lot of research. I've dedicated 5 years of my life into this type of research. We'll be heading right up there, and we can see some petroglyphs with some spirals there. And when we get closer, you'll be able to interpretate, the meaning of it.
Woolwine was one of many residents to see the Phoenix lights 14 years ago. But it didn't stop there. He's documented years of sightings on his website, going beyond just the traditional lights in the sky research.
Doing my investigations, I'm coming to find out that the petroglyphs here in the Valley of the Sun are talking about what we're seeing in the sky today as far as UFOs and strange things in the sky.
Woolwine says he's found it's been happening for centuries.
You see, they didn't have video cameras back then. They had stone boulders to record their sightings on what they saw back in their time.
And the evidence is written all over our Arizona mountains.
Here on what we call A Mountain, we find this petroglyph here. And it seems to represent a family. And they clearly have their hands up in the air as to say they're in the appeasement pose and they're looking up at two orbs in the sky. This mountain is very active for UFO sightings. Most of the time when I come out here, we do see some orbs up in the sky.
Woolwine says the best time to see the orbs is early in the morning or late afternoon.
The more you see it, the more you're intrigued. You know, you want to see more of them. And I really think that it's only a matter of time when everybody will know that, yes, there is something here. Yes, we are being visited. And we just have to ask ourselves, okay, we're not the only advanced civilizations in the universe. What happens next?
Thank you. Before we go into Burke's stuff, at the beginning of the show, I talked about I had my drummer. I'm in a band, and we talked about this video that I put together. So I'm going to show this video real quick, and then we'll get to Pat's sighting, and we'll talk about his sighting. So yeah, I have two pages. One is my UFO page that you're watching this on now. Follow me if you like what's going on. If you like the show, put a like on that. Follow me. Find me on Facebook. I have two accounts. One is my music page, and then one is my UFO page. And so yeah, man. And so let's get into this real cool video real quick, and then we'll get back to the UFO sightings.
This is Houston, contact with a test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we checked all 4 systems, and you were go on modulation, all 4, and keying was a go.
thank you. Yeah, that was fun. That's my band. And so that was Eric. That was Eric that we talked to earlier on the phone. He was pounding away on the drums. Man, he was really doing a kick-ass job. And really, all of the people in our band really do a really great job. Dio, he's on lead guitar. That's a phenomenal guitar player, let me tell you. He's really good. And then we have Chris on the bass. He's awesome. And, you know, we have a singer, and his name is Mark, but he wasn't there at rehearsal this time. And so, yeah, if you're in the neighborhood and you follow my page, follow my music page, you know, come see us, man. Come check us out. So, yeah, let's get into Patrick Burt's sighting. Now, this is phenomenal. Let's get right into it here. Now, at first, he thought that this was just a balloon with a weight on the bottom. But he soon realized that this was not a balloon. This was not a weight. Okay, here I zoomed in on the video. Right, you can clearly tell that this is not a balloon. These are not balloons. Okay, this is an entity. Remember that line that we're seeing on the petroglyphs? So even though it's very hard to see, there is a line connected to the bottom, to that black one on the bottom there. Okay, and it's my opinion that they're absorbing the energy. Patrick did a great job. You know, you can follow him on his Facebook page. He films a lot of those contrails that they're spraying up there in the skies, and he gets great photography. He gets great video, and on this day, he just happened to witness and film an entity. Great job, Patrick. Awesome work, man. If you get any more, please let me know. Now, once I saw this, once he sent it to me, I automatically realized that this was a sighting. What happened? This was a sighting that I filmed. I guess it went away. This was a sighting that I filmed in 2000, what was it, 2005? 2006, okay. Now see that? This thing actually, it split in three. You can look at it there. You can actually see on how it's morphing into three. You see that? Many petroglyphs depict this, showing these things morphing into three. Now it's kind of, see that line in the middle there? See that? Now this thing actually, it went across Southern Avenue, heading towards South Mountain. And it hung in the sky. It hung in the sky for a long time, for about maybe 10 to 15 minutes, right above South Mountain. And as it did, it slowly ascended down on South Mountain. This is exactly the same thing that Patrick filmed. Let's see if I can bring it up again. Okay, so here's Pat's stuff. Here's Pat's video. Yeah, I'm not sure why the videos aren't supposed to be stopping that way. So we had some technical difficulties earlier, so that might have had something to do with it. Now here's my video. I'd like to do a comparison. I don't know what happened here. So here's Pat's and here's mine. See that? It's the exact same entity, if you will. Not spaceships, but living entities. Isn't that neat? Great job, Pat. So Pat is on the left, and I'm on the right. Isn't that great? Pat did a great job filming this thing. And then here's mine. And it hovers over South Mountain for about 5 to 10 minutes before it finally went down on South Mountain. So yeah, Pat did a great job filming it, and I just want to say thank you for him for letting me know about it. And make sure you find him on Facebook, and I think he's got a YouTube page. That he films these contrails of these aircrafts and other stuff. So yeah, find Patrick Burt on Facebook. He's in Phoenix, Arizona. He's a great guy, and yeah, follow him and see all the neat stuff that he's doing. So yeah, you know, Patrick, he's a great guy, and we're gonna do a comparison real quick. So here's Patrick's. Here's Patrick's. There's a photograph, a still photograph of Patrick's video. Now here's mine. Isn't that just amazing? Is that something? Look at the comparison on that. That is just amazing. So yeah, you know, follow Pat, find Pat. He's a great guy, and he likes filming these contrails in the sky, and he films a lot of other stuff. And so yeah, you know, thank you, Pat, for bringing that to my attention. And so yeah, let's take one more break before the show ends. So yeah. You know, if you like this video, if you like UFOs and understanding what the rock art is, and understanding what the real history of Phoenix, Arizona is, and what the Phoenix Lights really are, put a like on this video, man. Follow me. Find me on Facebook. You don't have to be my friend to follow me. My stuff is open. Look for me on the internet. Search my name. I'm all over the internet. You know, find me on my new YouTube channel, Petroglyphs in the Sky to Jeff Woolwine. So yeah, and so let's take a short break, and then we'll close out the show.
This is Houston, contact with a test. 1, 2, 3.
Picked up your Phoenix Lights, Petroglyphs in the Sky, True Stories, Myths, Legends, and UFOs over Phoenix, Volume 1. Learn about the lost history of Phoenix, Arizona. Learn about the petroglyphs carved in a sacred mountain, now known as South Mountain, that holds the path to the Phoenix Lights and the UFOs over Phoenix. Pick up your copy today. Phoenix Lights, Petroglyphs in the Sky, True Stories, Myths, Legends, and UFOs over Phoenix, Volume 1. Find it on eBay, Barnes & Noble, and any source where books are available. We'll see you guys next time. And, you know, if you like this, find me on Facebook, find me on my YouTube channel, like and share this video, and see you guys next time. Thank you. Goodbye. See you next time. Until the next exciting episode, keep your eyes in the skies. You never know what you might see.